What's up, guys? This is Alex from Periphery. I do front of house and tour manage, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a rig rundown as I'm here in my home studio doing some tour prep. So here we go. All right, so to start, the guitar players are using Axe FX 3s. Every song has its own scene. So you can see Wax, Letter Experiment, Make Total, Scarlet, Four Lights, etc., etc. And every one is exactly the same in every XFX. The numbers, these right here, scene or the patch numbers, correspond to the song markers in Cubase, which is what we're using for playback. So for guitar input, we are using the Shure ULX D1 wireless into a Shure ULX D4Q unit, which has 4 channels. It goes Jake, Mark, Misha, and then the last channels for Spencer, and we have an extra channel for Spencer's spare. Out of the ULXD unit has an XLR-Y. One output of the XLR is going into the input of the XFX, and the other output is going to a direct out feed, which is feeding tuners on stage. These canvas tuners are really sick, really accurate. The closest that they'll get to the XFX tuner, which is pretty accurate. So the output of that tuner is getting fed into my D-Live, and that D-Live is then getting outputted through here onto the stage. So we can place these wherever we want on stage. So for playback, we're using 2 Mac M4s with 2 cheap little screens. These are our Zopa screens. They're super lightweight and super replaceable. They just use one USB-C, no power. We're using a dual redundant system with the Play Audio 12 and a Mio XM, which is feeding the MIDI to the XFXs. It is connected via Ethernet into a switch, which this has an output for as well, and that switch is also feeding wireless, which is the Ubiquity, the U6, super nice. And then in the back, you can't really see, there is an Edge router X doing all the DHCP routing for everything. For triggers, we're using the Roland TM2. It's a classic that everybody's using right now. It's pretty sweet. I eventually hope to upgrade one day to a bigger system where we can have multiple triggers and stuff. Right now we have a trigger on the kick, which is also opening the gate for the main microphone sound. And we're also using a snare trigger, which is opening the gate. However, I'm not using a snare trigger to trigger a real sound live. It's just opening the gates. For the main playback system, like I said, we have 2 Mac M4s, and we're running Cubase. Right now, this one doesn't have the project loaded. However, the projects are identical on both computers, and we're using a Stream Deck to press play on both computers at the same time. So if you check it out, I press play. Mr. God, mad kick after 3. 1, 2, and then you can hear. 2, 3. So from there, all of the audio and control is handled by the D-Live CDM32 and the CTI 1500. As you can see also, we have a iPad that is controlling the monitors on stage. We have 2 iPads, one on stage left and one on stage right. And the guys also have the iPhone app on their phone to use their own mixes. They're all pretty proficient in audio, so it's really easy for them to just do it. On the audio side of things, I'm using a SSL UMD 192 interface, which is underneath the console actually, and that is being fed via Dante into the interface. And then from there, it goes via Thunderbolt cable into my computer, which is running Pro Tools. For plugins, I'm currently using Waves Super Rack. I'm only using stuff on the guitars and the vocals, and on Spencer's in-ears for his vocal as well, because he likes his own chain. So like I said, we have Pro Tools running, that's playing back into here, and then from there the direct outs are going into another computer which is on the Dante network. into Reaper to record. This is my redundant record system. Sometimes Pro Tools has a tendency to stop whenever it feels like it, and it's nice to just have a backup. This computer is also running Smart. I haven't really opened everything yet, but anyway, this computer is also running Smart, and that is getting fed from my mic here and a feed from the console, which is over here. Oh, I didn't press play over here. There you go. Now you can see we have a reference signal and what's going through the speakers. So, for speakers in my studio, I'm using the ATAC SCM25s with the ISO acoustic stands. My home rig consists of a Avid Matrix Studio and a Universal Audio, I think the X4, can't remember, the twin. And I also have the Netgear AV line, which are freaking awesome. I love them. I don't have enough space to take this since I have all the gear. I kind of have to check like 10 bags or whatever. So I was like, I'm not going to just take one more bag just to have this rack. So all in all, I really like this rig. It sounds really good. My room isn't the best. I have some like baffles and stuff in here. The room's not that amazing. So I really use a bunch of headphones to check the mix everywhere. Listen to here. I listen on my home theater system, but I'm using the Slate VSX closed back. Awesome headphones. Pretty consistent mixes. And I'm also using the Slate VSX open backs, which are brand new and they just came out. And these are awesome. I mean, like a combination of all these three, I can get so close to what a PA could sound like. Also having the RTA and stuff and like also helps. But yeah, man, I love this rig, and if you have any questions, please send me a message. I don't know if I covered everything or whatever. Can't think of anything else, but yeah.